this episode of Concrete Reality TV.
Most of the time, when you talk about legitimation in custody, 90% of the time, it ain't the man who being difficult. The man they're trying to get some rights. Because if you're dealing with a sensible woman and a sensible man, they're going to always do a parenting agreement and they'll be done with it. Even, and most of them don't even have to do a parenting agreement because they're just going to work it out what's in the best interest of the child. You only have to really go through legitimation in custody when you're dealing with a crazy woman.
What's up? I'm El from Acapella.
It's your boy Cutter.
Your girl Danelle Wright.
OG2 in the building, and of course the infamous K Fred.
And together we form Voltron.
Play my motherfucking theme music.
What the hell is going on? You got 5-0 knocking at my door, 6 in the morning. I think you better let it go. I told you once before that we ain't crushing no more. I reminisce on how I used to trick. Spent all my money for that rollie on your wrist. But now it's not the same cause you're caught up in the game.
Oh, it's your story from this because I feel like we're coming to the climax of both of you guys' stories. So we're going to go back to Milton. We stopped on what part, Milton?
He got a small win in the court system. Got a little win, making us all feel like, okay, there's hope if we're ever in that situation.
Well, look, guys, you got to understand when I got that small win, I had 6 months of the signing sheet showing I was signing my son in and out of daycare. I had all the receipts. I put every bank statement to show that I was transferring me that money, over her month after month after month after month after month. I went and I had data after data. I even put the tags to show that the insurance. I mean, everything to validate that the things that I stated, I had the data. But you actually have to go together. What they don't tell you is that you have to go gather that data. The attorney is not going to do it for you. So
you paying them all this money and they're not doing any type of research or anything like that?
No, sir. You have to do that stuff. So even with timeline, you have to create the timeline of the actions that took place, and you have to send it to them.
Dang. Yeah, so that's what I remember you said at the beginning. Your lawyer had told you got to build a case.
Right, and it really truly means you have to build a case. They go and present the case and then apply the laws or how it's supposed to be in your favor. But the data gathering, all that stuff, you got to do all that stuff. And then if you don't take the time to do it, then you ain't gonna have it. So again, and again, I get some of it because they're not gonna know every individual thing that happens. So right, and so for just for guys when they're going through it, document. I can't tell you more enough. Keep those timelines of every time she takes the child from you, every time you didn't see him, every time that she violated whatever your agreement was, because it will be very helpful, going forward when you go in your case. Because you gotta have that documentation. Because if you can't remember the timelines and stuff that happened, it's irrelevant.
Yep, and she's not gonna tell the truth.
And they're not gonna ever tell the truth. So if you can't keep up with it yourself, you dead meat. But anyway, so I won that case, and then I went to my attorney. I said, "Look, man, I'm tired of fighting with her, and it's too many months since I've seen my son." I said, let's try to offer another parent agreement because I figured, hey, she just lost embarrassing, and I know at this point she gonna work with me because she got a butt handed to her in court today. So I draw up a parenting agreement, and I basically state that, hey, look, I'll continue giving you $1,500 a month, pay a child support. And, we rotate them, go right back to our original plan that we had agreed to, basically.
Right.
Drawed it up, sent her the paperwork, called my attorney, got it, gave her a call. Cause at this time she had no representation. So he called her directly. Now, once she get representation, you can't call them directly anymore. The attorney have to call the other attorney. But he
got to go through the attorney.
Right. So he gave her a call, basically said, look, my client would like to sign, to settle this because he just wants to get past his portion. He said, because at this point, there's no child support case with the state, and we want you to start getting some type of support for the child. but we also want visitation,
Right.
you know. And so he sent it to her, and she basically just told him it'd be a cold day in hell that she would sign anything like that, and based on my turn to kick rocks. So clearly at that point, I knew it wasn't nothing about my son. At that point, it was just she wanted to beat me and wanted control. So at that point, you know, we go to fast forward. We go to our first mediation case. So before they actually go see, you know, you go through what you call mediation. So we get in mediation, and this is basically what not a judge, or I'm not sure what they are, but they basically mediators that are certified to deal with those type cases. So we get in mediation. She had, at this point in time, she has an attorney, and her attorney, she shows up with her attorney, and you know, my attorney, we show up and we sit down, and doing the first thing they say to you is they're doing mediation. Both of you need to go through this situation and agree that you're really trying to, you know, resolve this issue and be flexible and try to do what's best for the baby, and that we want to make both of us aware that it's in the child's best interest to see both parents weekly. Well, to make a long story short, we get in and mediation, and basically her attorney goes and say that rotating our son every day was causing him issues at school, and he was acting out, and that's the reason why she on rotate, and she thinks it's too much on him, and that let me see him on the weekends is more than fair, and that I don't have time to take care of him like I do because I have to be at work so early in the morning, and then he stays at daycare the full day versus when she doesn't work, she can go pick him up early. But hell, if you don't work, anybody go pick him up early. You know what I'm saying? You know, but she stated that, and she stated the reason why she took him out of daycare was because I was sleeping with the daycare teacher.
Oh, wow. She's stirring the pot.
Oh man.
So she threw all that in there.
Oh yeah, she just went. I mean, and the thing is, guys, when you're going through this process, women can lie every step of the way, and there's no consequences for them whatsoever. They don't have to tell the truth.
Even if you prove them wrong, they still don't.
No consequences whatsoever. So, you know, her attorney went through all that stuff, and basically what they told me is that all I can get is weekend visitation, which is they want to offer me Friday, get them on Friday, and I can keep them to Sunday afternoon, and I got to take them back on Sunday, and that's every other weekend. And I'm just like, that's not going to happen. So we go through that whole process, and then they had this where they split you up. And so they split us up, and they talk to you individually. They're like, well, Mr. Ross, what we got to do to, you know, settle the case? And basically I told them, look, I don't care what you give me. I said, well, as long as it's 50% of my child time, I agree to it. I said, so, you know, that's all I'm seeking. I said, I'm not seeking anything else. If she want money, I pay her the money. I said, as long as it's reasonable, I give her the money. I'm like, I can make money again, but I don't want to go another week without seeing my child. So what we basically came through out of that portion was I agreed to give her $1,500, still pay daycare, pay all his insurance. And she said every other day was too much. So I offered her to say we could do every other week. Or we could do 30 days and the other parent get them every other weekend, and then we rotated that way. So a long length of time. But the school and everything didn't have to change because we both, I picked the daycares in Center, both of where we both live, just to make sure that made everything work. Well, I walked out, he went, so I went out of the room and turned and talked to her, then they called her back in the room. Long story short, she basically stated that nothing I offered her was reasonable, and that she basically said she could not work, and that I'm trying to cheap her out. And basically, they told me the only how they'll settle with me today is if I agree to give her $1,700 a month, pay child support, do everything else I was doing, and only see my son on the weekend. Every other weekend.
Dang.
Yeah.
Every other weekend.
Right. And that's what, and she wanted to raise the price. So I was just like, you know what? I'm good. Mediation over. I don't pay this attorney enough to sit down here, and we got nowhere. So when I walked out, the mediation ended, and they're doing that mediation, my attorney started pulling out some of the documentation. He said, "You say you never rotated this child for 6 months, but if you didn't rotate him, or my client didn't have him that as much as you stated, then why is his signature on this sign-in sheet?" Now, her attorney didn't know I had all that stuff.
Oh, wow.
So he started pulling it out, and then, and going over everything she lied about, doing the mediation. And he just basically said, "This is ridiculous that, you just wasted the time and you did no research, on this case before you came in here." But again, it doesn't matter because it's not a judge and it's not an official court case. It's just mediation. So they can say whatever they want to say during that time. So the mediation ended because I wasn't selling. I wasn't finna sign no paperwork like that. That's stupid. So my attorney pulled me to the side because she also said during that time frame that I had still been seeing my son when she hadn't gave it to me in over 6 months. But because she said that during mediation and we were getting so close to our court case, that she had agreed to give it to me that weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And so my attorney pulled me to the side, and he was just like, "Look, I see what you're dealing with, and you finna spend a whole lot more money because she's not gonna be reasonable at all during this process." And he said, "Well, I can't, with good intention, take any more of your money without you at least going to go get a DNA test." And I was just like, and the reason why I had never took a DNA test is because I was under the impression that was mine, and at that point, it didn't even matter to me because I was in too deep. The boy was mine. So at that point, it was what it is. Like, this my child. I didn't care no more what the piece of paper said. So, but he was like, "You need to go through this," because he said, "What you're finna go through is going to be a lifetime of pain." And he said, "At least you want to go through it. You want to know everything up front so there's no secrets." So I respected it. I still wasn't going to do it, but she did agree to give the child to me that weekend. So when I picked my son up, I went and bought one of the DNA tests that you could buy at like a drugstore. And then you got the options where you can go in-house and get it officially done, or you could just do it yourself at the house and then get your results back. So I decided that, I just go in and get it done, just for my own peace of mind, because I really wasn't going to do it. But I did it anyway. So I go send a piece of paper off. So I did it that Saturday when I had picked him up and we hung out, because I really just didn't want to waste no time doing stuff like that when I want to just, spend some quality time
with him.
I hadn't seen it, so I just wanted to catch up and talk to him, just what you been doing, So I did that. I got my results back on Monday. And that following Monday, I was at work at my desk, and you know how you get that ping on your phone? And I saw it, but everything they do is password protected. And guys, when I got it open, it said that the child was 99.9% not mine.
You are not the father.
Damn. Wow.
I lost my shit.
Dang.
Yeah, I remember that day.
I did. I mean, that probably the first time in my life where since I've been young, where I literally was upset. Like I was enraged. Like anybody who know me, you probably never see me raise my voice. You'll never see me. You know what I mean? I'm even killed pretty much all the time. But that particular day, man, I probably hadn't cried since I was 10 years old, man. And I was in my office and I got emotional. It was so bad. My plant man said, "Look, she saw my computer and she saw what I was reading, and she was just like, oh my God."
Wow.
And they were like, just go home. Just get out of here. I mean, that was probably the worst piece of paper I read in my entire life. I wouldn't wish that on no man. That was worse than me and my own dad, and my own dad not being in my life. But to go through that, man, it just like somebody shot you. You got a question?
Nah, I just want to make a quick statement for anybody watching this. A lot of many, I would say many, many women have no idea what it's like for a man to have his first son, to be, especially, men whose fathers were not as active in their lives, or for a man to be a father in general. Women go through their emotional times and attachments and whatnot, and I'm not taking nothing away from that. Mm-hmm. But I think in this society that women have no earthly idea of what a man experiences when he has his first child. Mm-hmm. Because we also have attachments. We don't just, I understand in this society so many people have walked away from their seeds, and it's not looked upon as, well, he'll be all right. Men always walking away from their seeds. But you have a lot of men, and it's a large percentage, but of course it doesn't get broadcasted like that. But a large percentage of men who look forward to fatherhood, who embrace fatherhood. Mm-hmm. And for those men to find out that, to go through what this man went through, trying to see his son, trying to spend time with his son, trying to care for his son, trying to raise his son, and only to find out that this whole time that the child that he's embraced, the child that he's loved, cared for, that he's fought for,
brought into the family. His. Yep, all the family and everything, pictures, grandparents. You going
everything, taking my baby home to mom. Meet your grandson. Dad, meet your meet your papa. Auntie, uncle, pictures, being publicly embarrassed. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then the hurt along with that. I can only imagine. I haven't went through it, but when I can go into how I felt, because I was looking at each picture that you posted on Facebook, and I was proud of it. Remember, I used to like them because you and E had y'all children at the same time. And I like, okay, man, it's good to see Black men embracing fatherhood. You know what I mean? Which you don't see often. You don't see it. But I just wanted to make that statement, man, to just show you how, not only were you affected, but people don't understand that, how deeply it affects men to find out when they have been bamboozled into being a father to a child that's not even theirs. But go ahead, man.
I definitely agree with that, because I feel like women think that they're the only nurturing beings, and even though a father is supposed to be, the protector and firm, we still nurture our kids. I got a daughter,
right,
and I still baby her, and I baby her even more now because I was kept away from her for 2.5 years. So I get yelled at all the time by people like, stop babying her. And it's like, I'm trying, but I feel like I owe it to her when really her mom is the reason why everything happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, she did this. You know what I'm saying? On top of my first child, which Liam and Landon, they all was born, 2 months from each other?
Mm-hmm. Right.
I lost her the next day she was born because her mama don't believe in medical. But yet the courts granted her medical over me.
Wow.
Right. So, man, I'm sorry you went through that, Milton. I'm really sorry you went through that, man.
Yeah.
It's part of the process, But the honestly thing that what I think for me is it makes you reflect on everything, when you get news like that. So, it takes you in a dark place where you think about the time, all the sleep you don't lost, the travel, the amount of money that you've spent, to your family and, your parents, and all these people are emotionally tied to this child. And now, you got to go, and not only you now lost this, you finna lose this child, but not only that part, that you're now taken away from your family too. And they got, you know what I'm saying? So,
yeah,
this, her actions just didn't hurt me. It hurt my family, and it was going to hurt my son. Because this child,
the most important piece of the puzzle.
Right, the biggest piece of the puzzle was him. I even thought more of him, like, well, this is all he knows. And why would you do that to him? Let's do that to me. Why would you do that to him? And so my thing, and so that it just, you get all those things just racing in your mind. But anyway, so I processed it. I said in my car, I wanted to. Yeah, that was one day I was okay with going to jail. That was a bad day. I didn't go anywhere, and I didn't do nothing stupid.
Wow.
I called my attorney the next day, kind of, sent him the paperwork, and his mouth fell. And he said, I knew it. Something was wrong.
Wow.
And she was too crazy. And he was like, only reason why I told you to do that, he said he was talking to his wife at the dinner table. And he was just like, that man is just too honest, and something is wrong for a woman for the amount of stuff that this man has done. And he's clearly a good father, and she's taking him down through that like that. Yeah, that's the only reason why he brought it to me. So with that being said, I had to change everything because I'd be stupid to stay on paperwork, with her, knowing how crazy she was, and basically trying to take every dollar I made.
Wow.
And so then you got to spend additional money to change.
So hold on, you had to come off some more money.
Yeah, you got to spend some more money. You got to go back. You got to go
let's
back.
go ahead. Let's go ahead and finish this story, because we definitely want to get caught up on everything. So you had to spend more money after you found out the boy wasn't yours. You went back to court to report that, or how did it go?
Yeah. So my court case was still going. So everything I was going after for filing for joint custody, I had to modify all that stuff, and then basically draft new documentation to basically say it needed to take me out. So it's a father registry. So if people didn't know, it's a registry that they keep, and any father that's part of, once they identify you as a father of a child, you in this registry, and that's how they keep up with who's people dads. So I need to be taken out of that system. I need to be taken off all the legal documentation, because I signed his birth certificate. He had my last name. So you got to address all that stuff. Well, the attorney's not going to do all that for free.
Wow. Well, wait a minute. Pause a second. I know our viewing audience, the thing that's definitely going through their mind is, how in the hell did you confront her about this issue? Or did you just wait until the court, till you addressed it in court, or did you address her personally first?
I couldn't do it. 'Cause for me, if guys ain't never been through that stuff, it's very emotional when you tied to a child and you fighting to see him and you done nothing wrong. And so what you don't want to do is do something stupid to mess up your chances of getting what you're trying to seek with legitimation in custody.
Right.
And so after I figured out that portion that he wasn't mine, I definitely wanted to talk to her, because I was enraged every day. I mean, it was months. I'm talking about months. It took me a long time before I could even just be comfortable, just having a conversation. But anyway, what I ended up doing was, when I found out about it, I never said a word to her. And she was still she gave it to me like one more time.
Wow.
Before my court case came back. And so, I just spent time with him. I didn't say a word.
Dang.
And so my attorney changed up the paperwork, and then I had to serve her again.
Dang.
And so when I served her again, then she called me, and the first thing she asked me, why did I go get a DNA test?
Are you sick? Why did you go and get?
Like, if you question he wasn't yours, why you didn't talk to me?
So you can lie to my damn face again? What?
Why would I need to talk to you if you already know? You should just tell me.
Wow, that's insane.
Where's my drink on that?
He said I need my drink for this one.
Hold on, man. So
that's a real.
She asked you why.
Yep, she asked me why did I go get a test, and basically was questioning me, like why did I even go do it in the first place? She never addressed it what it said, and because it basically also said on there too that I was withdrawing myself from being the father.
Wow.
And and I said, well, first of all, why would you lie to me for something like that? And you know what? She had the audacity to tell me. That's when I knew that women really don't think men have feelings at all. She told me, well, I ain't never tell her who all I slept with. I said, oh my God.
What?
That's what she told me. And I knew then. I said,
hold on. Repeat what you just said.
She told me when I asked her, why would you lie to me? She said, I didn't lie to you. You never told me who all you slept with. And I said, oh my God.
So that.
I'm a lunatic. That's what I knew then. You a lunatic. Like, I can't beat you. Like, and that's when I realized that when you're trying to deal with somebody who's unreasonable, it's insanity, because nothing you're going to say to them will make sense, because it just
it doesn't make sense. It doesn't they can't. It doesn't compute to their hard drive won't register it. It won't register it.
Reason. Right.
No.
So it was just, she basically was just like, well, why would you do that? Why would you file that paperwork and say you don't want to be his father no more? You don't want to see him no more?
Wow.
What? So now you just took this child from me all this time. Oh, and now it's okay, I can come get him again. Oh, now it's okay, I can come see him. Because now it was starting to register to her that now I'm finna pull out 110%.
Yeah, the money pot's gone.
Right. Because now I understand that, like, I don't owe you nothing. And everything I was doing, when I kept telling you, let's do what's in the best interest for him, you didn't want to do it. When you just turned around and I'm finna sign that piece of paper, and I'm finna give her $1,500 for the rest of her life.
Man.
And
that's like a bank robber going to a bank manager asking him why he called the police while he was robbing the bank. Like, why would you do that?
Yep.
Do you know I'm trying to take your money?
And it's sincere too. The sincerity.
Why would you call the police on me while I'm trying to take your money?
I'm just telling you, man. This is like I felt like I was on the shore of Murray. I couldn't believe it. Like, I had never been through nothing like that in my life. Wow. And so to be going through it, I couldn't believe it. And so, I got back to court. Once we got to that particular court case, before I got there, I had to take an official DNA test. So the court wouldn't take the DNA test that I already had. So then I had to take another DNA test.
Wow.
And so then we showed up. The first time that we had the DNA test, she didn't make it. And I had to pay for that.
Dang.
So she didn't come, just didn't show up. So then we had the court order to make sure she made the second one, which I had to pay for again.
Dang.
Why don't the courts? I'm trying to figure out the court system, and I know it's a clause where it probably doesn't exist to where a warrant should be issued for her arrest if she doesn't.
It should be.
The woman don't have to
She
go
should be arrested.
Nothing, really. Unless the judge hold them accountable, it's not a whole lot you can do. But anyway, I got to the second when she finally showed up. We went and took the test. And I probably hadn't seen my son then for maybe a couple of months in between that time. And the hardest thing I could do was because he physically saw me. And he didn't want to, and he wanted to be up under me the whole time. Was at the test. And when I was getting ready, we done with the test, and we had to walk out the courtroom to go down the stairs. And when I was trying to get him back to his mama, and he didn't want to go, I can't even. I would rather been shot than see how my son was looking at me and how he was fighting. And I'm talking about, when a child really, really, really mad and hurt, it went snot nose and crying, and then at that time he could talk. So anybody who knew my son was very smart. So he could formulate sentences already. And all I hear him screaming down the street, I want to go with my dad, while my dad is leaving me. And to hear that, oh my God. Guys, you ain't never heard no child do you like that, but that's boy, look here. That'll hunt you, that'll give you nightmares. But I somehow kept making steps, and I knew I couldn't take them with me, and because I knew what the test results was going to be, and so then fast forward, the results came back in. Then this next one was with the actual judge of my case, and she basically sat down, and that's where they revealed the official DNA results. And during that time frame, the second test came back the same with the first one, 99.9% not mine. So the judge was like, I'm going to grant Mr. Ross what he's filing. And then, that her and her attorney turned around and said, well, we understand that, but why don't you agree to, if you want to still be his father, that, we'll agree to give you 50-50 on everything, if you stay the father. And I'm like, why would I go and agree on paperwork for anything with you guys when I was trying to do all this in the first place? And y'all told me
y'all didn't want to do it.
Right.
And wasn't even going to get a test.
Wasn't even going to do it. I wasn't even considering to take a test. I wouldn't have even done it if they would have went on and agreed. But she was so greedy, she killed her own self. So, when you say God work in mysterious ways, my story will tell you, like, because anybody who know me, my child, I was never going to take a test. That was done with. And the crazy thing about it is that she tricked me when she bamboozled me. She got pregnant like a week and a half before she slept with me.
Dang.
And then I started going back through how she bamboozled me. And but that be going into a whole nother situation. But ended up after that, they supposed to have took my son and all the documentation off change the name to hers and take me out the registry. It took her months after our court case ended to take him off, change his name and so forth. And the worst part about it, guys, and I'll stop here and let it go back to finish up, but she filed child support on me again.
What the? Are you?
Yeah. And that right there, she should be in jail for. She should be in jail for that because you maliciously, fraudulently.
We got to get to how she was able to do this, because this is very important for people listening. Courts
don't care.
How was she able to do this?
So my court case had been resolved. I think it was like December of 19. And it was December of 18. I think it was going into 19. In January of 19, I got served again for child support. So, I think I went to my court case like in probably like it was sometime, I want to say October, so somewhere in October or September of that following year. And I didn't get my closing results until like December. They're telling me everything was closed and everything was official. By before January 31st, I was getting served for child support again for the same job. And so how was that possible? Well, evidently, as long as she still had my original birth certificate that I had signed, and she still had his original Social Security number that had my last name on it, she can go out and file it again. The courts don't check nothing. And I got served again at my job for child support.
Well, it ain't the courts. It was DHS.
Yeah.
Not the courts.
Yeah, you DHS. DHS can serve you again. They don't do any research. They don't ask no questions.
Yeah, they just take the woman, they take the mother.
And you back up in there again. So then I had
I'm dealing with them right now.
So I had to go through that and deal with that again. But that's how she was able to do it. So as long as they still have that documentation, DHS don't check anything. They just send the paperwork and go through the process. Now, I had just literally got my clothes and stuff, and they opened the room. I couldn't even heal 10%, and they had already opened the room right back up.
And they opened it right back up.
Wow.
Yep. And so, and so during that transition, when I got the portion of the court case ended, the last time I was seeing my son was I packed up all his stuff that was at my house because I bought that stuff for him. I wanted him to have his clothes because again, this still was about him.
Mm-hmm.
And, I took all of it over to her. I put up his bed, the brand new bed I had bought him in her condo and everything. And through the whole time, you want to talk about just tears running down my eye, and he looking at me like, "What's wrong with my daddy?"
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just sitting on, this is my last time probably ever gonna be able to see him again, because my attorney had advised me, if you continue acting like the father, then the courts can treat you like the father,
Mm-hmm.
and you're still paying for a child that's not yours. And she's so crazy, I just couldn't risk that.
Right.
So you know what I'm saying. So I ended up, now when I was doing all that, got him together. He fell asleep, and I'm like, I'm gonna ease off. So, and I kissed him goodbye, and I was going out. This lady tried to lock me in her apartment.
What?
Tried to tell me that she don't know why I'm acting like this, and I don't want to be with her. And wouldn't let me out her apartment. Asked me to spend the night. I'm like, I hate you. I want to spend the night. Like, I really do hate you. Like, you the worst thing that ever happened in my life.
Wow.
Literally.
That's crazy.
It's that crazy. And then every time I try to go out the door, she threatened me saying she gonna call the cops if I touch her.
Are you serious?
I'm dead.
I don't, man, this has got to be the craziest story.
Man, you dealing with a psychopath.
She wants you to lay with her again so y'all can get it right this time. What the hell is this?
Oh man, look here, man. It was real. She would not let me out. And I'm talking about, I struggled to get out of her house for probably about 30, 40 minutes. And it just
I'd have just act like I went to sleep and then heard them jump up and ran.
That's scary as hell.
That's scary, bro.
I duped her, and I got the door open, and I just pulled on the door, didn't touch her, and I got my one on me, and I just slid on out the door. And that's how I got on out. And then I told her I'm finna call the police. Like, I'm not finna go, like, you're not finna mess me up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not finna sleep, you're not staying, and and so forth. So I finally got out of the house. Well, I didn't see him anymore after that, after I dropped off all his stuff. And then, like I say, a couple of months later on, she hit me with that second child support case. And then I had to go deal with my third child support case that I had to go and deal with. Yeah, guys, it's and I basically had to go down to DHR and child support services, and basically deal with them, because they're going, again, if you don't show up to court, they're going to bench warrant for your arrest.
Mm-hmm.
So I finally got a meeting with one of the adjuster or the account reps, because you can call them 1,000 times and won't nobody talk to you. Especially when it's the man. And I'm talking about when I called the first time and I finally got somebody, they treat you like you already a deadbeat dad and you ain't
guilty.
You guilty. Like, it's just like, it sends just the whole system just, for a real man and a real father, man. It's just like, it's just like, it just put a whole sour taste in your mouth. But I finally got to somebody, and I'm trying to explain my situation. And they told me basically that I was basically lying, and that I need to either come in the office or show up for my court case. So now I'm enraged, because now I got to take another day of work to go down here to their office to, get off documentation. So I go to the office and I finally get with a lady. I bring her my documentation showing that my court case just got got closed out, and basically asking how in the world can a person, well, I just won my court case and it clearly says that I'm not the father, and you guys serve me again after a judge had already closed out 2 other cases with you guys.
And they not looking at none of this stuff.
None of that stuff. And you know what they told me?
What?
We're sorry, Mr. Ross.
We're sorry.
Hey, at least they apologize.
Wow.
Ain't that what somebody would say?
I lost it, fellas. I lost it in the office. I lost it. I said, "You sorry?" I said, "Don't y'all understand? This is the problem with the system." I said, every time a man try to do right by a child, the system steady tells them, "Don't do anything, just give them money." I said, nobody really appreciate the real father. I said, and the amount of money and the struggle we go through when we deal with a crazy woman. I said, but now not let me show up. I mean, I was going off, but she had to go get a manager. I said, now let me show it up here and then go to court. Y'all have been trying to come pull me out for my job and inch a bench rate and take me to jail over some documentation that I already had. I said, but yet you didn't even take your time to even go through your files to see that I had already done this whole process over a year ago now, and you still didn't have the documentation. And then not to mention, I called your rep, and your rep didn't even take my information and even halfway listen to what I had to say. I said, this is the reason why Black men go create new families and just say the hell with it.
Yeah.
But most of them can't afford to keep doing this and taking time out of work and keep calling y'all, keep gathering different information, keep hiring attorneys, keep going back and forth. I said it gets to a point where everything's too much. It's just like, if you don't want me to be a dad, then fine. You go figure it out. And that's why the guys start running. I mean, so I get it on both ends. Hell, I even know men who will just go to jail just not to keep having to deal with the child support system. So
because you said something very valuable. You said a lot of people don't have the resources. A lot of men don't have the money to go back and forth to court to fight this, even if they not the father. Think about that. A dude working a 9-to-5 barely can support himself, don't have $1,500, $1,600, $1,700 just to throw an attorney to say, man, help me out. You know what I'm saying? This child ain't mine. They like, hey man, look, I'm gonna need about $2,500 just to go to court with you. Oh man, I can't work on this case for no $500-$600. Man, that's not, put me on the payment plan.
Right.
So, come on, bro. You know how many attorneys be turning money down because they don't have the time. They got other cases that people are paying.
Right.
So they don't have to do pro bono work.
Nope.
Hell no. Especially no child support situation.
Nope.
Come on,
they
bro.
already know you're going to spend big money, especially if you're dealing with a difficult woman. And again, most of the time, when you talk about legitimation in custody, 90% of the time, it ain't the man who being difficult. The man they're trying to get some rights. Because if you're dealing with a sensible woman and a sensible man, they're going to always do a parenting agreement and they'll be done with it. And most of them don't even have to do a parenting agreement because they're just going to work it out what's in the best interest of the child. You only have to really go through legitimation in custody when you're dealing with a crazy woman. Because the woman doesn't file legitimation in custody. The man has to.
It's crazy. I wanted to bring up a video, but I can actually tell y'all about it before we get to say it. It was a man obviously exchanging his kids in the parking lot with a woman. And I don't know if you ever seen this video. It kind of went viral. And he had 2 kids, obviously, by this woman. And he had, I guess, his girlfriend in the car. And when she found out the girl was in the car, she gave him the hardest time to try to get his kid. And the kids were sitting there crying and, and they were like, well, no, let me see who was in the car. And she's just so focused on whoever's in the car, but you can tell she was doing it on purpose. He's just like, look, can I get my kid? Can I get my son? Can I get my son? And she's just like, well, who's in the car? Who's in the car? Don't worry about who's in the car. Look, this is my weekend. Let me get my son. It's raining out here. I don't want my kids wet. Let me get my kids. Whoa, whoa, whoa. She would not allow it to happen. And her mom got out the car and she was on her side, of course. I wish I had the video to bring up, but I've seen so many instances like that to where the only way, he was smart about it. He didn't put his hands on her or nothing like that because he already knew it was evident that they had history. And he already knew he had to fight her in the court system. He was like, look, do I got to call my lawyer? Do I got to call a judge? Because I'm recording this on purpose so the judge can see this. This is why I can't. But guaranteed, he had to call his lawyer. He had to come up with a retainer to get back into court for just to make her mind, just to make her say, hey, you know what? Or judge, to tell her, look, you're gonna let him see his kids. This is his weekend. I don't care who's in the car to pick him up. Boo, boo, boo. This is his weekend. And it's sad that it gets to the point that sometimes you even have to go through other, the grandparents to go, or the aunties or legal guardians.
I think you ain't taking into consideration though is that they can be put in place and women can just continue to willfully violate it in the courts and the police officers, and nobody does
anything about it.
She can go in, for me, I spent over that 2.5 years, all the money I gave for my son, all the stuff that I did, I found receipts. This is not everything. This is what I found receipts for. Over $100K.
$100,000.
Wow.
Just to find out that
ain't yours.
And so when you start talking about why guys go irate or why guys, shooting women and killing women and just sometimes it's because you pushed the man so far that he turned into somebody he don't even know who he was.
Yeah, he snapped. Yeah.
He snapped.
And not saying that it's fair and that it's okay, because it's not. You know what I'm saying?
It's not. Let's be clear about that. Just because it's going on, because it might go on YouTube, and we don't want people to get the wrong idea.
Right.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna go snap and kill nobody.
We understand that some people are not. Everybody ain't all victims here.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody ain't not victims.
Yeah, true.
And some people, and I'm not saying that nobody warrants death or being shot or stabbed or anything like that, but people do snap. Do snap.
I make the mention of it because people don't know the background or why a lot of the time that stuff happens. Like no one, right now, if anyone hearing my story, they'll be like, ain't no way in the world that could have happened.
Yeah, of course. They're going to play that card.
I've heard plenty of dudes who've been in domestic situations and child support situations who said the same thing you did, that so I wanted to do something to that woman, The same thing happens for women who, get treated a certain type of way. They snap, and you hear about women running their husbands over, shooting them, stabbing them, because they snap. But when a man snaps, it's never a good look.
No.
You heard about the woman finding out her husband was cheating. She drove all the way, 3-4 hours just to run him over and kill him. She snapped.
But the thing is, though, no one talks about this portion of it and how many men are not necessarily pushed to the edge to do something to the woman, but pushed to the edge just in life in general.
Right.
Yeah. And that's the part where I just want to make sure everybody understands is that, that's life changing. That's almost like when I found out that's death. Like I lost a child. You might as well kill. Yeah. I can't go sin. I can't go, you don't forget, those wounds are there for the rest of your life. And then you got to go through the
Right.
part of knowing that you can't. There's nothing else you could do. Like you can't control the situation.
Yeah.
And all people tell you is, and I see it day after day, is like most women are so I leave you guys with the current, and just my opinion, the current genre of women right now, because of how the government has set up the system, women feel that a check is more important than the father actually being a part of the child's life, meaning that the father's actually there helping do homework. The father has the ability to make sure that they're going to school and staying out of trouble. You know, he taking some of that burden off of you, taking the child to the school and, you know, doing the extracurricular activities. Like, the court doesn't highlight that part of what is needed from what a father brings to the table. And so I think long term, what we've created is that women thinks that the money is more important than the father being present. And so women chase the money more than actually the physical presence of the father. And all the decisions they make is one-sided, meaning what's in the best interest of them versus what's in the best interest of the child.
Girl, you got me up in court now, trying to get all of my dough.